Alright, so in this video I'm going to discuss the top 5 RIZZ passes. Now in case you don't know what RIZZ is, Google it up, millions of views. But I'm going to talk about what's the most desirable moving into 2024. Bottom line is, if you have one of these passes, then you're a real man. There's that X factor, there's that appeal. So I'm going to discuss 5 options. The fifth on my list, and when I'm discussing these options, right, when I'm discussing these passports, they should be doable. They should be gettable. It shouldn't be a Japanese passport, which is the most desirable exotic passport of all times. What's the point? You can't even get it. So for a Japanese, it might be good to look at it or think about it or dream about it. It might be good, but there's no sense in discussing that or calling that as number one. If it does not allow dual citizenship, it's absolutely no good. And secondly, you can't get it right so easily. You're gonna spend 30 years of your life trying to get that passport. Doesn't make any sense at all. So I'm not going to cover those senseless options. I'm going to talk sense, real stuff, right? So number 5, I have a tie, right? There was a comparison between Malta and Portugal. Now both are EU passports. Malta is truly a sexy passport. It's one of the most desirable ones. The problem with Malta is the investment threshold. Yes, the rich people, the wealthy can afford it. $750K to $1 million, and you are looking at a Maltese passport in approximately a year and a half, 2 years. So that's one option. The second next to Malta, which is more accessible to a lot more people, is the Portuguese passport. 3 typical ways you're looking at with the Portuguese passport. One is you can either have a D7 in place, and I have multiple clients that I discuss this options with. It works for a lot of people. The D7, if you're looking to spend time in the country, you're okay with being a resident and physically moving there, then D7 works perfect. That's one option. The second option is the Portugal Golden Visa. Again, it's sort of partially functional nowadays. You know, the real estate one is off the table. So Portugal Golden Visa still is somewhat of an option. And third, if you have family ties, let's say you have a spouse from Portugal, without even setting foot in the country, you can actually gain this citizenship. It's pretty fascinating. Now, if you have missed my coverage on this option, take a look at this video. This talks about how someone can actually get this passport without setting any foot in the country. So that's number 5. Number 4, I again had a very close comparison or a tie between South Korea and Singapore. A lot of people actually go for the Singaporean passport because of the huge advantages of the country, Singapore. The problem with this is, again, no dual citizenship allowed. So for a lot of people who want many passports, this is a non-option. It's kind of not desirable, yet at the same time, it does have its own charm. It's strong, it has advantages. South Korea also usually does not allow dual citizenship, but there is a very interesting hack. So now, let's say you wanted to have a Asian citizenship, one of the strongest Asian citizenship. This one has somewhat of a hack. Now, if you've missed my coverage on what that hack is, you can return and take a look at this video. If you have this citizenship at play along with it, you can keep both. The dual citizenship sort of is allowed in that in that particular case. So that's number 4. Number 3, I have a close tie between Canada and the US passports. Now I do understand a lot of people will be like, wait a minute, what? A lot of whites, or let's not say whites, let's say Americans, you know, typically mostly whites, they are priced out of the US. They can't afford the taxation, or let's say the citizenship-based taxation is an issue for them. So they look at other countries, they look at moving, maybe even renouncing their home country citizenship. So I understand that a lot of people are priced out of this option, but you've got to understand the rest of the world is moving in, right? They're okay. They can fight out the whatever the woke nonsense is. They can deal with that. That's not a big issue, right? If you're a man you can take care of those things. So a lot of the other side, a lot of the rest of the world is actually moving in and gaining that strong citizenship. This is the time to make America great again for a lot of people. In which way you're talking about making it great is a completely different story, but a lot of people are moving the other direction. A lot of wealthy and rich individuals. Elon Musk is a rich guy, right? Is he leaving the US? No, he's not leaving the US. So there are a lot of those type of successful people, a lot of people moving in the inward direction. So for that reason, I think it is one of the most desirable passports. So you got to acknowledge the fact. Yes, you don't like it. You're going out. You're going to a third world country. Absolutely fine. But there's also that other side which is going in. I feel the Canadian one takes the edge here because you have a similar passport. Canada as a country has transformed of late, has changed. Before I would have hands down said doesn't compare with the US. But I think in 2023, 2024 and beyond, that passport could be more desirable than the US passport because you're getting the same benefits, the same advantages, maybe not the same salary, but you don't have the headaches of the citizenship-based taxation. A lot of people argue it's coming. It hasn't come in the last 1,000 years. I don't think it has, reasonable chances of coming up in your lifetime. So just chill. And that's a very good option. So I would finalize that at number 3. At number 2 spot here is, again, a very close comparison and almost a tie sort of between Mauritius and Chile. Wait, hang on. So Chile, because Chile is much better passport than the Mauritian passport. The problem with Chile is the accessibility, right? You want it to be accessible. Now, is it possible to get the Chile passport? Absolutely. A lot of people, Asian people, move to Chile, spend the time on the ground, get the Chilean citizenship. It's a little tough, but it is absolutely possible. The temporary residency is easy. So how do you get started with Chile, right? So the temporary residency is the first step, pretty straightforward. Put a plan together. It's fairly accessible. Once you do that, you have a couple of years of time. The tricky part is converting from the temporary residency over to the permanent residency. But once you cross that hurdle, then you're looking at a straight path to citizenship. 5 years, got to be in the country mostly. And then you're looking at one of the best passports in, or rather I should say the best passports in Latin Americas. Now that compares closely with Mauritius because Mauritius is more accessible. It's one of the strongest in the Africas. I would say Mauritius has a slight edge because it's, again, as I said, more accessible, more desirable because of the ease with which you can look at this. Mauritius has changed quite a bit. They're very immigration friendly these days. They want to come up with the right programs. They want to copy some of the other EU countries that have done this for such a long time and benefit from some wealthy individuals who are interested in that part of the world. Now, if you are interested in knowing how you can get started with Mauritius, we work with one of the leading law firms over there. You can return and take a look at this video for more instructions on how you can go about this. At number 1 spot, and this is not in any particular order, listing all of these options, the top 5, right? Serbia and Russia. Now, a lot of people will be shocked. How can I name these 2 countries? Absolutely, they're hot, right? There are the RIZZ passes. Russia, not so much. Before the war situation, a lot of people's hot favorite was the Russian passport. For some people, it still is. I personally feel just overall, given the whole circumstances, it has lost steam, at least for now. In future, it may pick up. You gotta wait and watch. But instead of Russia, I think now the sizzling hot favorite, not only in terms of the look and the charm, but just the whole geopolitics and the diversification in general, I think Serbia is right up there. Serbia has some very, very interesting changes that are coming about. The country is thinking of reducing the time frame to citizenship to 1 year just because of the volume and the demand of people who want the Serbian citizenship. And also one of the things that these countries have realized is making more citizens is better. Unlike the Asian countries where you want to eliminate the citizens, your own citizens, if they acquire an alternate citizenship, they cancel their home country citizenship. Unlike that, the future trend is these countries want to expand and make more citizens across the globe. It's beneficial for them. You see that with Turkey, right? They're distributing citizenships for whoever is buying a property. So they're again headed in the right direction. More and more countries, if they want to get stronger and more powerful, want to get more monies in, then they absolutely have to make more citizens. So Serbia is working on a draft rule, 1 year and you can qualify for Serbian citizenship. It hasn't yet been finalized. I'm going to cover this continuously, the whole development. I'm tracking it very closely with my attorney. If you're subscribed to this channel, be rest assured you will be notified, and also try and be a part of the advanced polls and chats if you're a frequent or if you're an insider, because I share a lot of behind the scenes materials over there. Could be beneficial. And at any point you want to get started with any of the residencies or citizenships, I want to discuss which one is possible, including citizenship by exception and tons of other various ways, you can always click the link in the description, book a call with us. We can have that discussion and see what best fits your circumstances and get you started. Again, as I said in my previous videos, we have very solid attorney coverages across multiple jurisdictions. The other thing with Serbia, some people are able to obtain this through exception. So Serbia is opening up in a lot of ways to outsiders. So these are the top 5 on my list. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, make sure you're subbed, and catch you in the next one.